What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly scraps, baby. Let's get into it. I got my man Steven Teven Wee, and I got my guy Henak Maurice. That's
Yo, don't
right.
disrespect me, man. You say my name right. Do it over, man. Say my name right, man.
Enoch. Money
Ah,
making E
ah.
all day.
Now I'm saying was shaking here.
You
We here.
heard?
Let's get it.
Alright. Alright. We're gonna get into this right away. Obviously, there's no fights. Christmas edition, New Year's edition. So we got a couple of fun things we wanted to talk to you guys about. Some other things going on. Obviously, we got the UFC 300 card. Steve, I'll kind of let you, I guess, kind of man the ship, so to speak, on this upcoming card.
Talk
Actually,
to
I
him,
guess
Steve.
we don't have a main event yet. That's pretty much it. We don't have a main event.
Bro, you're the main event. I don't know what they're waiting for.
Huh?
You are the main event. Like, I don't understand. Why is there any contemplating? Why is there any talks? What? There's nothing to figure out. Aljamain, like your Aljamain card.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious.
Aljamain event. Like, come
Hey,
on.
I'm not against it.
But
I'm not against
honestly,
it.
if they didn't put your fight on the main card, that main card better be fucking immaculate. But
Bro,
I mean, it wouldn't even make sense. But I mean, just again, let's see what they're gonna put out there. I mean, Dana keeps
Yeah,
hyping
if you're
it
not
up.
at least the co-main, like that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm probably definitely not gonna be the co-main.
I'm gonna say no shot near the co-main. As long as they don't do something mad disrespectful like fight past prelims, I'll accept that.
Bro,
at this point,
bro,
that's what I'm saying.
the UFC is rigged if that happens, bro. Like how? Like
It is
you
rigged. What are we
just
talking
lost the
about?
belt. Like it's not like you've been out. Like bro, you're bro. Nah, I'm not having it, bro. I'm boycotting. No, it's not happening. No,
They might start calling me Aljo Main again. Aljo Main. Aljamain Sterling.
Nah, bump that. Nah. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I do feel like, I mean, we haven't heard anything about Conor, and I'm over here fidgeting with my microphone right now, but
Yeah, Conor.
Sure
Who knows? Like everything's uncertain when it comes to Conor.
Well, I think they're waiting for USADA to be out, and then they can do whatever the fuck they want with Conor. I think they have to wait another 3 days. So I think they're chilling. I wait 4 or 5 days, whatever, and then USADA's out. Look at Aljo. Look at this. This is a professional setup. You looking over here, right? Like this is crazy. Aljo, just
don't mind me. Carry on the conversation.
No, but what is the actual like thing that's going on with Conor? Like, what is the actual issue? Because I know he was out of the pool. Then they said he's in the pool. So like, what is the? I thought like once you get in the pool, like you should be good.
Blue lips.
I think
blue lips.
Well, I think he was. I think he was juiced up like crazy, so he wasn't allowed to get. He couldn't do anything. So now you gotta chill for a little bit, then be like, all right, I'm back in the pool. And they're like, wait a minute, you're not actually back in the pool. Like we gotta test you and shit. But he, I think he's just gonna wait it out until USADA's out, and then they can do whatever they want with the new drug testing program, and then he can fight whatever. I mean, again, like to be fair too, if Michael Chandler's agreeing, like if Michael Chandler's like, hey, the guy can be on whatever he wants. I'm about to make $1 billion. I don't care. Yeah, then let him fight. I don't think Michael Chandler gives a shit either way.
But people need to remember every fight is different. Every contract, you are already bound to your agreement by your contract. So your payday does not change. The only way Conor will, not even Conor, the only way Chandler will be able to get a different payment is if they went to renegotiations for this fight. And
which you should. I mean,
they should.
If you're fighting Conor McGregor, I think who was it?
Cowboy.
It was Cowboy. He said like something crazy, like you took this on a contract. That's crazy to me. Like if you're fighting McGregor,
no,
that is.
I was wrong. You're right. It was Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah. See, like that's insane to me. Like that should be life-changing money. Like the way like Dustin Poirier, he kind of says it like those McGregor fights. Yeah, he can chill for the rest of his life if he wants to.
Yeah,
like, everyone deserves
that
one of those.
Is different.
That's what Michael Chandler wants.
The red penny night.
Different. That check it different.
Nights. Who doesn't want a red penny night? I mean, come on, come on. Red, nice, pretty pennies.
I'm guessing that's what I mean. Well, who would you rather see Conor fight? Would it be Chandler or like a Diaz?
Chandler, 100%. I'd say Chandler.
I think the Chandler gonna bring it different because I don't know. They're
That's a
both
tough
really
one,
fun
right?
fights, no matter
Yeah,
how
no,
you
they're both
slice it,
fun.
right?
What did you want to say? You're not saying what you wanted to say.
Listen, man, I'm not trying to make enemies right now.
All
That's for you
So
guys to
USADA's
do,
leaving,
and I'm here to
right?
co-sign and laugh about it. That's
right.
it's like, ha ha
So if
ha.
USADA leaves, who's coming in?
If you
Um,
they got, what was it, drug safe sport or something like that? Oh, what? How do you not get a thumbs up? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have no idea.
Hey.
No,
So
you think
wait,
it's
does
like
your you know how you got that jacket from all your clean tests? Does that start over for you, or how does that work?
Probably since it's a new company. But the whole thing with Conor, like Chandler agreed to fight him on whatever he wanted to be on.
Yeah,
That's gangster.
I'm saying let it happen.
100% let it happen.
I'm with it.
I mean, that being said, I'm sure it's gonna be like it'd probably be like a Mark Hunt Brock Lesnar situation. Like when that happened, like Mark Hunt's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what that guy's on. I'll still beat his ass. And then if you lose that fight, you're like, never mind, that motherfucker was cheating. That shit was foul. Everyone knows that was foul. And then you can't be mad at that either. Like you do, it sucks.
Yeah.
Wait, can we actually confirm that Mark Hunt said that? Did he actually say that?
He didn't say those words, but I think he did before the fight say like, yeah, he can be on whatever he wants. Wait, let me.
Yeah, I think we need
fact
some
check.
confirmation on that because
Fact check. Fact check.
You can't go back. Yeah, you can't go backtracking after like the man
Nah.
comes in sauced up.
Nah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
But I do think if they for UFC 300, man, they might be waiting for the new transition, and then from there maybe there will be a little bit of an allowance for Conor. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying if we're trying to make this a huge card, what bigger fight can there be? Obviously, John Jones is out, but what bigger fight can there be outside of John Jones to bring a huge just number value to this card other than Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler? I think that is a huge fight. People, I'm gonna pay money even while being in the back room getting ready to watch the fight.
So
That's how good
what's
it's
John
gonna be.
Jones' timeline as far as injury?
Well, I would imagine the pec takes about 6 months to heal, and then you got to do a training camp, and then you kind of got to get your feet wet a little bit again, jumping into the mix, slow and steady. I'm gonna imagine a year. He probably could come back sooner.
Yeah.
There are people like Aaron Rodgers out there who came back after a torn Achilles.
That's crazy.
Magically.
I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he's throwing, stepping, putting pressure on that. Like that doesn't even make any sense.
I'm just saying there's special
Maybe
ways around it.
supplies out there that you can use to help speed up the recovery.
There's ways around it.
So I don't know. I think it's either way. John is out. I think Conor and McGregor. I mean, it's pretty much Conor and McGregor, right? I mean,
and it's Vegas. Makes sense.
Yeah. Because I don't know when else they're going to come back to Vegas. I know Conor wants to fight in Vegas. So let it happen, man. I'm here for it. I'm not getting any pay-per-view points anymore, but still be a cool-ass card to be a part of. You know?
They should make a new thing. Like, once you become champion, you always get pay-per-view points.
There's a lot of things that I would suggest to the UFC. But unfortunately, we just don't really have that juice, you know?
No.
No pun intended.
Yeah, because it's almost like the Cowboy effect. When you're a Dallas Cowboy, once you win a Super Bowl as a Dallas Cowboy, you're pretty much set for life. Like in Dallas, like you're good. Huh?
When have they won a Super Bowl?
Giants all day. I'm just saying that Cowboy effect, which makes no sense. But there's guys that didn't win a Super Bowl in 20 years, and they're still loved, and they get all the appreciation and everything out there. They can walk the streets of gold out there.
When did they win a Super Bowl? Like I have
no idea. Exactly. It makes no sense.
When was the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl?
Bro, it's been forever.
Because I'm like, where's the effect? Because I haven't seen it.
This guy's
no,
terrible.
not for us to see, but out there, I heard that, like, if you're a Dallas Cowboy and you've won a Super Bowl, like, they treat you like a god out
I
there.
know,
like,
but you keep saying if you won a Super Bowl. And I'm saying, when?
1995.
Okay. So I'm like, when? Like, I'm trying to think, when did that happen where we could, like, have a comparison to know what that looks like?
Yeah, back then.
That's a very long time.
Very long time. That's what I'm saying. You're still a champion.
Yeah, well,
that's the whole point. Once you're a champion, you're always a champion.
That's how it should be in any major sport. I think if you win
exactly.
a title, you win a WWE title, you're a WWE champion for life. Like, what are we
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
Exactly.
here? Like, that's what I'm saying. I think for any sport, it should be like that. But MMA, MMA is foul, bro. It doesn't really work like that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many champions that unfortunately. I mean, Jens Pulver was a former champion. There's like a
Yeah.
million guys I can list out right now that were former champions that it just again in
Get
any
no
other
love.
sport they're set for life. In MMA, it's
Yeah.
just like it was cool for a little bit, you know, like Chuck Liddell's, the Tito Ortiz. Nah, it's just
Cool
yeah.
for a
again,
little
it
bit.
was cool. It's pretty dope. Like, nah, it's what's a crazy sport. Like,
Now
It's
that's
a
facts.
sad
That's facts.
reality, man.
nah, it's a
It is
sad
a
reality.
sad reality.
Again, I don't know if it's the
Dang.
same for boxers, but well, at least in boxing, like you do
Nah.
make the
Oh yeah.
money.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if it's like the same accolades, but you definitely at least make the financial compensation that makes it worth it.
I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of boxers. I mean, like like a Sugar Ray Leonard, like those type of
Mhm.
guys. They're good.
Yeah.
I
Their
would
names still hold
imagine that they're
weight.
good. We don't know the backside, like the backside story of that behind
Yeah,
the
That's
scenes,
true.
like peel back the layers. But I've seen retired boxers. But I guess what we're speaking about are people who were champions and whatnot. So I guess that would
Hmm.
be a different bracket to kind of be in for sure.
mhm.
Bro,
Um,
side note, like, isn't it just great for you to say like you're on that tier of champions? Like, I don't think because UFC is so week by week and like always different cards, so many fights, we don't really get to acknowledge like, yo, this is the 1% of the 1%. You're the elite of the elite. Like you have to compare your championship to a Super Bowl, to an NBA champion, to a boxing title. Like that is a different tier.
now let's make the room even smaller. Add
Mm-hmm.
that room of people. You're allowed to go into the next room of people who actually defended at least one time. Now, my
Levels.
one time was a little weird because I obviously won by DQ while
Yeah.
proceeding to get my ass kicked. Came back and won the
Yeah.
rematch, which counts as a defense. But in
Mm-hmm.
actuality, the storyline should have been I should have been fighting for the vacant belt against Sanhagen and then defended against Jan, and that would have been the DQ situation if you could rearrange the order of how things should have been on merit. But there wasn't.
Yep.
So then now let's say two people, two defenses.
Mm.
I think you're in a situation where that room is very very small. You know,
What do you call an NBA team that three piece? A dynasty.
turkeys. I don't know.
No, you call them a dynasty. Lakers, dynasty. Any team that repeats, they're a dynasty. So you like, and that's a team. You're alone. You're a dynasty, bro. Like you can't deny that.
I think it's a little different, but
I guess.
I
I don't
appreciate
look at it like that.
it. I'm not gonna say
I,
no.
I guess, bro. I'm
uh,
just saying, bro. Like that's different. That's different. I don't think people really understand. Like that's a different tier.
No,
yeah,
it's especially for like MMA compared to boxing too. Like boxing's got, I mean, I think it's amazing, but it has so many weight classes. Like even just today, it's like watch this Japanese fighter. He just won his, I guess the unified belt in two weight classes. That's 8 belts. Like there's just no fucking way you're gonna be able to memorize each of those belts. Like it's insane to me. So again, like all those are world titles, but to me, like one of those is like the man's a 2-weight world champion, but he's got technically
Yeah.
8 belts between him. Like to me, the upside, the at least initially, like one of the best things about the UFC was just like, dude, there's this handful of belts. They're up for
Yeah.
grabs. Like that's how,
This
in my
weight,
opinion, that's
that's
how it
it.
should
There's
be
one
too.
belt
Yeah,
per weight.
yeah, exactly. And
yes.
again, I think that makes it that much more impressive to be able to get there.
That and
Mm-hmm.
competitive, and then if you could climb to the top, that says a lot. Obviously, there's a little bit of like favoritism, like depending who you
Yeah.
are, being fast tracked, being able to avoid certain fights. Um, but you still got to get there, right? So
Yeah,
even if
and
a
again,
guy
I
does
think
have an easier road, it's
I was
still a
gonna say, I
hard
think
thing
it's
to do.
even more impressive, like even that you say that too, because I just saw like a video of like I forgot about this, but like Leon Edwards back in like 2019 with Darren Till, and that was back when Darren Till was getting the whole like the UFC,
Oh, how
you
good
know,
was
like
that clip?
that was awesome. Like the UFC gave this man the rub. They were like, "This guy's our new guy from the UK," and like Leon Edwards, like, "Man, this guy's not the best guy. I'm right here. Like I'm the guy." And like,
Mm.
Till was the one shitting on him. Like, dude, no one knows who you are. And then again, 4 years later, here we are. Leon Edwards is a champ, and no disrespect to Darren Till, but like, he's no longer in the UFC. He's not doing, anything. And again, like that was the guy that the UFC was like, "This is the chosen one. This is the guy we're pushing." And Leon, who I think got the opposite treatment, like they kind of pushed him away. the guy just became undeniable. I think that's even way more impressive because again, like even talking about Aljo before, 100% that Sandhagen fight was to me that was for the
Yeah,
lineal belt. Like that was the number one guy,
We were the
and
highest ranked guys.
the
We're on
hundred
winning
percent like
streaks.
logically that made the most sense, but for some reason they gave it to Jan against Jose Aldo. Again, all the respect to Jose Aldo, like both guys, phenomenal fighters, but like logically that fight made no sense to make for the
And he
made
was
no
belt.
coming
sense.
off of a loss. That's
Yeah,
the most important detail. He was
no, you're
coming
right.
off of a
Well,
loss,
it's
and
just
they gave
not
him the title shot.
no, just
Have
not
we ever
right.
seen that before? Like I'm
No,
trying to
I have
remember. Like
not.
we've seen
I
a
have
guy come off a
not.
loss.
Nah, they kind of did. Again, that's what I mean. Like the UFC has certain guys that they're gonna push, and it's on that guy to use that push. Like I thought in that scenario, they're definitely pushing Jan. But some guys are just fucking undeniable. Like Aljo is just like, nah, somehow, some
Facts.
way, again gets it to the belt. Same thing with Leon Edwards. Like somehow, despite all the circumstances, finds a way to get to the belt. I think that makes it infinitely more impressive than a guy who, if Darren Till won the belt, again, like all the credit to him, that would have been impressive
Mm-hmm.
regardless. But you knew exactly who they wanted to win that whole thing, and
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's again more impressive to me.
and
Big
I didn't
facts.
get to the belt without a little help. My little helper Corey Sandhagen. After I beat him, he went out there and bodied a couple people and took out some guys for me. I was like,
That helps.
"Thank you for making me more undeniable. I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you again." And that's how I got my shot. So sometimes the
Yeah,
stars just
for real.
gotta align, I guess. But
Yeah.
um, so since we don't know what's gonna really happen with this main event for this UFC 300, um, let's change gears. Now I didn't watch this boxing fight, but before we even get into that, we got the Cater fight. Obviously, we talked about that. Steve,
Woo.
I didn't know what kind of things did you see, I guess, in his style versus my style. Obviously, it's not like game planning, it's just things that you see that we both do well or don't do so well. You can tell me straight to it, like, I don't care. Um,
No, I mean, first of
yeah.
all, it just as a fight fan, everyone should be like, damn, this is a fucking phenomenal fight. Like again, like style wise, it's so fascinating because you never really seen Cater fight anyone like you. Um, I don't know who I would compare that in your and like in your history that would compare most to Cater, for better and for worse. But I mean, the guy's got definitely dynamite in his hands, solid boxing, good awareness. Uh, Again, just fucking. I mean, he definitely sits down and throws. And again, I think one of the best things you do is you don't really stand in front of a guy to
Mm-hmm. You
let him
move.
hit you. So I think that's one of the things that he already just gonna have to deal with. A lot of things you do well, it looks like already gives him trouble, but I'm sure that's something he's already factoring in too. Like, early in his career, I thought his first loss from Renato Moicano came from just basic kicks. Like he just didn't have the leg kick defense to um, slow him down. And Moicano was definitely throwing too, but the leg kicks definitely fucking debilitated him. I think even in that one, that was the same night Al fought Khabib. I think you were telling me that was the same night he came
Oh, he
back
came in the
into the
back
corner.
room.
Yep. And he was kind of free. He was pretty upset about how that fight went down.
It's like fucking calf
Um,
kicks. I was like,
yeah.
yeah, bro, why he ain't check? Why he ain't check him, dog? Check him, shit.
In Aljo's mind, he's thinking calf kicks. All right, I gotta remember that one for that. But no, like no, the guy's dangerous. Again, like they didn't throw you in like they didn't throw you in with any slouch, that's for sure. Like that's one of those fights like
Yeah.
you beat a Calvin Cater, you're right there for a title shot. No one's denying that, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I mean style wise, I think it's a very interesting fight. I don't think you guys have necessarily matched up with people quite like each other before. I think it also helps that you train with Ige. I mean, in Vegas, you train with Dan Ige, who had a good 5 round fight with them. I just rewatched that fight. It was a good competitive fight. And even for Ige, like, you know, he did some things very well in that fight. And again, it was one of those things like in retrospect, when you watch it, like he changes one or two things. It could have been a completely different storyline,
Yeah.
which is just the most fascinating thing about it.
Well, one of the things Ige was telling me today was just like he felt what he is today versus back then when they fought. He just felt like he didn't have the tools or the skill set of what he has now. He was just kind of like just fighting, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I think that plays a big factor. And of course, Calvin is now a different fighter than what he was back then as well. So you got to look at both sides. But that is a very good. He's just saying he wasn't as technically sound in what he was trying to do when he was out there
Mhm.
versus where he's at now. Where I feel like back then Calvin still had a system I'm boxing, guards high. Let me line you up with this jab. Sit down on this cross when I can sit down on this cross, and occasionally throw these hooks. I don't. He doesn't really do a whole lot of body work. At least I haven't seen. Just like very diligent on the jab and the cross.
I'd agree with
Yeah,
that. Again, very basic boxing, but
Efficient.
very
Sure.
efficient.
yeah.
Yeah, and again, he's
I'm not too
shown he can go
familiar
five
with
rounds.
him. I'm not too familiar with him, but I have been starting to watch him lately. And one thing about Aljo is IQ is so high. And I'm excited for this fight because we've never seen Aljo at 145. And I don't think people know the power that you really have. Like when you sit down on your kicks, when you sit down on your punches. Like I'm not saying you're gonna go in there and brawl with the guy, but people think like, oh, they about to be walking through you. Nah. When they get one of those kicks, one of those punches, they're gonna be like, oh wait, he was at 135. Is different now. And yeah, you could call me biased, but like there's never been like I can honestly say I've either been at your fights or watched your fight on TV. There's never been a fight where for a split second I'm thinking like, oh, I don't know about this one. Like I'm extremely confident, not just because I know you, you're my best friend and all that. It's because of the work that you actually put in. So I know you're not going into this like, oh, 45, let's just see what happens. Like it's not just, oh, I'm going up a weight. All right, I don't gotta cut weight. All right, let's just see what happens. And you still have to cut weight for 45. And I know you're gonna do your homework. So like I'm not even questioning, like I'm just excited to see like this excites me. Like, yo, Aljo at 45. Let's see what happens. Like I want to see like usually in the other fights, I'm like, yo, once he gets him to the ground, it's over. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, he gets him to the ground, it's over. On the feet, ooh, I'm curious to see what happens. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm really curious and excited about this fight.
I do wonder how much I'm gonna blow up to after the fight. Like whenever I make 35, like I'm almost well, just about like the last 5 years, I pretty much always have hit 180. Just like your
Mm,
body just holding on to everything, blowing back up.
yeah.
So I do wonder if I'm gonna do the same thing because it's like I got like a it's like a sweet tooth, and
Facts.
even though like I'm not only eating candies and chocolates. Like it almost feels like a bottomless pit, and like you can't help yourself. You're telling yourself to stop eating, but somehow your hands are still moving towards the fridge. Your
Mm-hmm.
legs are still walking towards the fridge. Your fingers are dialing DoorDash and or
Yep.
Uber Eats, and somehow you're still ordering food when you know you don't want anything. It's like a sickness, man. It's a
It's
really
body trauma, man.
yeah,
Dude,
man.
180 is
It's
absurd though. 180. Oh my god,
Yes,
Aljo,
that's
come on.
wild.
That's
yeah.
insane.
That was Chipmunk Aljo.
Oh no.
Did not look
So
good.
at 35, you on fight night usually fight like between 152 and 155. What do you
Yeah.
think? Because you're gonna do at 145 after you weigh in. What do you think you'll be comfortable at? I guess that's something you're gonna have to work on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping I could get to 160 afterwards. I hope.
Yeah.
If
I
I
think you
only
will.
get back up to what I'm normally getting up to at 35, I feel like that's gonna be a problem.
And I
Um,
think just naturally walking around heavier, I think you're gonna naturally find yourself a little, even if it's not like 160, like 158, like anything like that, 159. Like I think that's still pretty reasonable. And um,
I
that's
need
the thing. I don't.
160. I need
You
to
want
put
to
this
hit?
weight
You
on
want to
people.
see
I need
160,
160. 160, I can do some damage.
and you're like, good, we're good to go.
Word, that's facts.
And again,
Speaking of
Nah,
and I
sweet
do think
dude's
the
tooth,
fun.
upside too.
what's it?
No, I do think the upside too is like the whole benefit of you not killing yourself to make 135 is like you get to see how well your body feels not killing yourself to make 135. Like I think that's the main benefit of this. So like even that's what I'm saying. Like even if you didn't hit 160 and you're 158, as long as you felt 100% at 158, I'm confident what you can do at that weight versus like like I'm gonna force feed myself an extra fucking extra couple pounds to make sure I'm the biggest,
Mm-hmm.
strongest guy. So that's what I'm saying. I think if you feel as good as you feel, like usually you do before you got a fight coming up, and you can maintain that, then I mean you can do whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want at that point.
Right now, I'm just tired. Like I do like 1 to 2 rounds of striking, and I'm exhausted. I'm also
Mm.
moving around, trying to do what I do when I'm lighter. But those 8 to 9 weeks of just drinking just about every single
Oh,
day and
good
doing
god.
hookah nonstop, staying up late at
Now you
night.
went crazy. You
Yeah,
went
it
crazy.
definitely took a toll on my lungs, man.
Yeah.
So I still feel like I'm battling back from that and trying to gain all that. Even today we sparred. I felt like I had a relatively solid day, except when I went with Julian and Rosa, and
Oh,
I did some good stuff. But there's still some things I'm having trouble with because of the height difference. He's 6'1", fights at 145. You know what I mean?
sheesh.
So there's gonna be some things that I'm gonna need to figure out where I was more so closer to being the tallest guy at the bantamweight, where now you
Mm-hmm.
got Sean Woodson, you got Julian Rosa, you got
Mm.
some of these guys who are like just trees. So you got
Yeah.
to figure out the game with that, taking them down, being able to maintain control for longer periods of times, working the threshold, understanding all that, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And even Devin Haney said going from 135 to 140 felt like a huge difference, and he felt so much better. So
Yeah.
like I think there's some truth to like yo, you leave some of you in that in that weight cut. So I'm curious to see because we saw that I watched the Devin Haney fight and I was like, who is this guy? Like I've never seen him fight like this, and he was like, yo, 140 made a difference from 135. So that's what I'm really excited to see.
Steve had to go, but we're gonna get into some fun stuff. Well, fun but a little bit serious. But one of the things that I've been trying to figure out now, I love candy growing up. One of my favorite candies was a now later, and I don't know whatever happened to the now laters.
Bro, they used to be everywhere.
Everywhere, especially high school, killing them,
Yeah.
killing them things. I don't know if people know. I
And they used to
graduated
be
in '07.
stuck
I graduated
the,
high school
the
in '07.
hardest
So
candy to eat.
was it
The paper stuck onto it.
all all the time, all the time? I'll still eat it, and then when it gets like messy, then you
Soggy.
just then you could spit out the paper. Pause. Hey, hey. That was always one of my favorite candies growing up, man. I forgot why I even thought about that. There was like a nostalgic moment, and I said something to Rebecca, and I'm like, "Babe, whatever happened to Nowlaters? They used to
Bro,
be like the shit. Like you used to always get that all the time."
bro, mad flavors, and somebody always had it in their bag or their pocket. Like, yo, let me get it now later. And the funny thing is, it used to come like in this It had the wrapper. Then when you open the wrapper, it was in another plastic wrapper. You remember the
Yeah,
sections?
yeah.
That's like
The
it
little
made no sense.
pyramids,
Yeah, that shit was
the little mini
crazy.
towers. But I
Yeah,
don't know if they
bro.
even. I wonder if they even making those anymore. Gonna have to
I'm
look it
pretty
up now.
sure. If you look it up, pretty sure.
Um, and then the last thing. So I saw this other clip. Let me find this.
Do they still?
Boom.
I'm really looking it up too. Still have now and later.
So I was on Instagram. So occasionally when I'm on it, I usually like post and ghost, or sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
post, ghost, and then come back and I'll read comments and I'll comment back, interact with the
Facts.
fans and whatnot. And just because I'm so busy, I can't really spend all that much time on my phone.
Yeah.
Um, but there was a clip that I saw, man. It was a really cool reel that I saw, and I thought it was very insightful. Just kind of reminded me of like my journey growing up through the ranks and coming through college, um, being a professional athlete while in college, not having any money, and the clip
Mm.
was pretty much downgrading your lifestyle so that you will live the way you want to, and
Yep.
why people are afraid to do that is like, is it because you care about what other people think too much? And
Yeah.
I thought that was a very good talking point, man. Because I
I
feel
think
like
that's what it
society
is.
kind of makes us feel that we have to compare our lifestyles and what we have to others all the time, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
latest phones, the latest sneakers, the latest sneaker colorway, um, the new trendy jeans, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
How you're flying, if you're flying economy versus first class, what kind of car
Facts.
you're driving. Like, there's so much social pressure. And then when you think about it, it's just like, I see these guys who get older and they always say, when you're young, you care about what people think. And then I guess you get older, and like
Mm-hmm.
when you get really old, they say like you don't care like what anyone thinks at all anymore,
Yeah.
and you kind of just go about your life at that point. But it's
Yeah.
just like, what is that phase that we're always constantly in? Like, and granted, I know we have these moments and these jobs that we have where you have to be a certain way, and there's some things that you kind of have to do to kind of fit the profile or lifestyle of the appearance appeal of what people kind of expect of you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's gotten worse with social media
Oh yeah,
because
1000%.
it's gotten 10 times worse. Because before, I would say for our community, it used to be a community thing, whereas like you trying to show off for everybody around you.
Mm.
But then now that it's all over social media, now it's everybody have that same mindset. Like, yo, I gotta have the nicest car. I gotta be stunting on Instagram. I gotta be doing this. And with YouTube and views and likes and all of that, it's almost like you'll start something and right away you don't see all the numbers, and then you're like, oh man, I gotta. You start trying to chase like it's almost like you're a junkie. You're trying to chase something. And I've gotten to a place, like you said, when you get older, it's like, nah, I'm being purposeful with whatever I do. Like I have a YouTube, I have a podcast, and not once does it cross my mind like, yo, look at all these people getting millions of views. Like I'm very comfortable with my little bit of views that I get, and it's because I'm doing something purposeful, what I feel that I'm called to do. But if I would take that mindset of, I gotta go viral, I gotta do this, I gotta get what everybody else is getting, it's like, nah, like do what you're supposed to be doing and let whatever happen happen. Stop trying to reach and grab for things that's not yours. Like it ain't always green on the other side of the street. Like stop trying to fake it till you make it. Like that used to be the thing growing up. Fake it till you make it. Like nah,
Yeah.
I'm just be genuine.
Yeah, I think there's a big part of that is like that instant gratification too that
Mm-hmm.
most people out there strive to get because they see something online and they feel like, oh well, they didn't have this at this point. Now look at them, they have all this. It's just like, yeah, but do you know what work they actually had to put in to get there? If you don't, you
Facts.
shouldn't look at those things and try to minimalize, I guess, what you have or minimize the type of success you're having at your pace or what you're able to do with what you have. And I think that's really what it comes down to: being able to put things into perspective, glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
um, Even like my wins and my losses are the same exact thing, man. Like I try to break things down into wins and losses, and then
Yeah.
I try to take those wins and losses and put them into perspective of what each thing means. Why is this good that I won? Why is this okay
Mm.
if I lost? What did I get out of this? What's the gain here? And yeah, if it set me back, what do I have to do to get to where I want to be eventually, kind of a thing. So I think it's
And that's the
really just
difference.
about the mindset of the individual. But I
That's the
always thought
difference
about
right
this
there. That
now. Like I
mindset right
always hear
there.
people say
Not
like I
really
can't do
failing.
this, I can't do that because they have this going on, they have that going on. But
Yeah.
then you see the stuff that they do have time to do, and you're like, it kind of I'm always perplexed. I'm just like, the math ain't mathing, and I'm not trying to sit here and judge, but don't say one thing and then start doing another thing because then that's not okay. Because now I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're almost crutching yourself and putting yourself in these situations where not a lot of good is coming out of or productivity is coming out of what you want. But then you see other things that you like or that you're into and you
Mm-hmm.
want it. But it's like,
Yeah.
well, if you want it, you kind of know what you got to do at this point. It's not a
Exactly.
secret.
We all know. We all know. And I like what you said. Your losses, you learn from them. Like
Mm-hmm.
just imagine if you were afraid to fail,
You won't do
you would
anything.
not be a UFC champion.
Wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything to challenge myself because I would not
Nothing.
want to be put in a vulnerable situation. But being vulnerable is real. Like
Mm-hmm.
life is vulnerable. Like you're gonna have ups and downs, and if you don't, you live a very soft and protected lifestyle where you probably have never earned anything. You wouldn't understand the value of hard work because you never actually worked hard. Like yeah, you could work hard at something, but if you're not actually trying to achieve a goal or someone's always
Yeah.
saving you, then how do you actually know the value of what it is to succeed or hardship to kind of enjoy? I feel like you kind of need a balance in life where there's no sunshine without the rain. There's no
Mm-hmm.
rain without the sunshine, kind of a thing. Like almost like
Yep.
a yin and a yang. You take the good, you take the bad, but you kind of have a balance, and hopefully you have more good than you have bad, and kind of balance it out. Because like you wouldn't understand enjoyment if you didn't have like sad days or bad
That's
days. You
real.
wouldn't understand
That's
what it feels
real.
to feel good if you're always if you're just always feeling good. You wouldn't appreciate how tough it is to go through a bad moment where you don't feel so good. But then if you can push
Yeah.
through and get through back to being on the good side, it just makes you feel that much better. I think it's that much more rewarding, and
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
I think that's really it.
Have some integrity in yourself and what you say. Like New Year's is about to happen. How many people have started saying, "I'm gonna do this come New Year's," and then by February it's gone.
New
That
year, new
mindset.
me.
New year, new me. That's why I always have to. I forgot the who. I think Inky Johnson. Stay true to what you said you was gonna do, even when the mood that you said it is gone. Like I started do that's one of the reasons I started doing one-on-one coaching because there's a bunch of people that I've helped so far, and the only thing they had to change was their perspective. Like once you shift your perspective of yo, I gotta keep going even when I don't feel like doing it. How many days did you ain't feel like training? How many days you wanted to say like, oh, it's not working. The UFC ain't giving me this thing, but you kept going. You stayed true to it, and
Hundred
look at you
percent.
now. You stay true to it. And it's easy for people to see you now when you say certain things like, oh, yeah, well, you was a UFC champion. It's easy for you to say, nah, they ain't see you going to work and then going to practice. They didn't see you having to drive to different places, do this, do a whole bunch of stuff on your own to get to here. Like, and this is what people need to understand. There's no real success doesn't come with instant gratification. It takes time, it takes work, it takes a grind. And once you understand that and appreciate, like the journey is one of the most important things because the journey is what teaches you everything. The journey is what grows you. The journey is what makes you appreciate when you get there. You can sit there and say, like, man, I didn't just get here. There's some things I had to do to get here that built me for why I am here. And it's different.
Church.
That get me in my bag right now.
Nah, amen to that, man. It's not
Yeah.
easy, and I'm not saying it's easy to shift your perspective, but
Yeah.
the way you talk and the energy you put into the universe, I really do think it starts with the little things about
Mm-hmm.
the things you say about yourself, the things you say about your life, the things you say about your day. Like there's
Yep.
sometimes I come into the gym and people ask me how I feel. And I tell them like, yo, I feel like shit. I feel beat up, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna push through because I
Facts.
feel like I can't ignore how I'm really feeling, but I also want to let myself know like, although you feel like this, you know, it might not work for other people, but I feel although I feel like this, I can say to myself, and I could take that and I could flip that mental mindset of like that negative talk and be like, you might
Mm-hmm.
not feel like good, might not feel good right now, but there may be a moment in a fight where you might not feel the best on fight day while you're in the
Facts.
cage, and you're gonna have to perform. And
Yeah.
my first Yan fight wasn't my best day, but I stuck it through. And
Yeah.
fortunately, not saying this is what my hope was, but
Yeah.
fortunately, in a weird way, like me staying around and just being a little booger and
Yeah.
and just being annoying and just keep walking forward like a zombie,
Yeah.
I eventually caught a foul that gave me an opportunity to do it all over again. Although I
Yeah.
didn't think that's what was going to happen, I just wanted to make sure the world knew that even when the tough gets going, like you don't quit on yourself. You always keep pushing it through until you can find a way. And even if you don't find a way, hopefully something good happens. And the knee
Yeah.
wasn't good, obviously, but in hindsight, it ended up actually being a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I feel like you was rewarded for it's almost like you're rewarded for all of the past work that you've done where it's like, nah, it ain't going out like this. Like
yeah,
there's more here. Like he's just in a tough situation. He's still going. He's
and
still going. I feel
I
like,
know that might sound weird to people because it's
yeah.
like, bro, you got on your knees and you. I'm like, no, one, I didn't get on my knees. I took a shot. It was a shitty shot. I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I got kneed in the head, but I agree with you. I feel like the universe almost moved itself out of the way
Mm-hmm.
for a rule that this man already knew from all the professional fights that he's had. The rules meeting in the back, the rules meeting right before you go out to the fight, the rules right before if they ask you if you have any questions about anything else while you're in the octagon.
Mm-hmm.
And then for him to commit a foul like that, it's almost like yeah, it's just like it's too convenient if that makes sense. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just try to remind myself like even if you don't feel good, your worst days, give it your best effort, and at least you
Yeah.
can say you tried and you went through it, and you did your best, and that's the most important thing. I can always live with myself if I knew I did my best. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like what was that? I had that Polaris match in Wales, and I
Yeah.
wasn't very happy about it. You know, although I won despite the circumstances, like partying and drinking nonstop since the O'Malley fight, and then
Yeah.
going out there, and the fight, the match wasn't my best effort. It wasn't the best meet. So it was like, yeah, I won, but I didn't feel like it was much to celebrate because of the way I won. It was just like, this was good, but I know that wasn't my best performance and version of myself, which
Because you have a
makes
high
me go back
standard.
what I say. As long as I know I can live with myself, knowing that I gave it my best, and just being on a bender like that, there's just no way I was going to be able to do that. So now I got this other match. The same thing. Like I did an interview today about it for the December 30th. It's on Fight Pass. Fury Grappling. It's a guy that beat Marab, one of those
Mm.
jiu-jitsu guys that does the butt scooting thing. And they asked me, how do I feel? Like, is it going to be that important to me to win? And I said, like, winning's always important. I was like, but
Yeah.
it's also about the way that I win. I want to show the world a different side of me, a different game. Remind the world why I've gotten the name Funk Master, and I'm hoping that my
Yeah.
partner is going to be a willing and able dance partner, other than kind of just playing the game. So I said, it's not about the win or the loss; it's about the performance. So if he wins, I mean, this is what he does 24/7. This is his work.
Mm.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
jujitsu every single day. I haven't even been doing jujitsu every single day since I even had this match announced. But I still
Mm.
believe in my skill set and my natural ability. I'm still training for a fight, but I'm
Yep.
willing to put myself at risk in a different sport and be vulnerable, willing to lose to try
Hmm.
to do something great, which is to beat another man in something that he does full time. And hey, this guy's going to come out and he's going to start giving this attention. Let's see who's going to be the better man and see if the time you dedicated versus the time I've dedicated is going to be better on that
Mm.
night. So
You got
it's
standards, bro. That's the difference with a lot of people. You have standards. Like I remember when I talked to you about the Polaris match, you was like, "Yo, once you snap me down, I was like, oh nah, let's go now." Like, all right, I've been drinking, but now I'm about to give it my all right now because you're not about to embarrass me. Like that's that standard that you built.
yeah. Well, I saw how hard the guy was training. I was like, yo, man, I thought we were just gonna kind of go out there and do some fun stuff. My man was going crazy in the gym. I'm like, nah, he coming to just win and go home. I'm like, all right, bet. I gotta lock in, and I threw up, man. I threw up so much after that match. It was so bad. As soon as I got upstairs, went right to the bathroom. I was in there, which felt like 20 minutes, just yakking
The
in
fact that you was
pain. Like
even
I was in
able to
shock.
finish that match was crazy.
Yeah,
I
but
don't, I,
it was
everything you've
fun.
been
It
doing, all the
also
traveling.
became a little fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was just one of the things that I wanted to touch base on because I feel like it's good for people to kind of hear these things because they think sometimes life gets a little tough. Like I'm not saying like not everyone's gonna have a great paying job where right out of the gate you're making X
Mm-hmm.
amount of money. Like, but I also didn't get here my first day in the office. Like I started at 8 and 8. I would have made more
Yeah.
money for my first 5 to 6 fights in the time frame that it took me to get those fights. I would have made more money as a physical education teacher and coaching wrestling all together
Yeah.
with benefits, health insurance, all the whole nine, summers off, not getting punched. Like I'm not saying I'm ungrateful for it or anything like that. I'm grateful for where I am today, but I also
Yeah.
remember the grind that I had to go through to get here. So I want people to remember like you're gonna be a lot more satisfied knowing that you got through what you got through to get to where you want to be, but you got to constantly be working towards your goals. Like yeah, you're gonna have
Yeah.
some days where you're not gonna feel like doing it, but how do you shift that mentality so you're doing, even if it's just the very bare minimum, whether it's to research for 10 or 15 minutes to get that
Mm-hmm.
information that you need so you can get to the next step. And maybe today you don't feel good because you're actually sick. Can you do something today? Okay, if you can't, how much of that work can you make up for the next day so that you're putting your dreams of where you want to go in front? And I think that's where it's all perspective, man. It's not easy, but
Yeah.
it's it's a doable thing, but you got to work the habit, and hopefully good things will happen for you too.
It's worth walking towards, man. Like if I could say anything to anybody that doesn't see where they are, that don't know where they want to be, it's worth walking towards it. Just figuring it out. Go through the pain, go through the struggles of not knowing, fail. Be willing to fail. Try to figure it out. I'm telling you, you'll get stronger along the way. The path starts, once you start walking, the path starts becoming clearer and clearer to each step that you take. Each step ain't gonna be easy, but each step that you take, you're getting stronger and you're learning. And that's the best part about it. You're learning through the journey.
100, 100
Facts.
bands, 100
100
bands.
band, 100 band.
But All right. With that said, I think we're good to wrap up. We could call this one an episode. Enoch,
Yep.
as always, thank you for tuning in and locking in with me.
Yes, sir. You already know.
So, like I said, I don't know if you got anything coming up, but I got the December 30th match coming. Then January
Ooh, can't wait for
19th, I got
that.
Polaris. And after that, I got April 13th, which is a ways away, but we got Marab. I'll be out there for him. I'll be back in New York this weekend. So, hopefully, get to catch up with some of my friends and family.
Dang, I
And
should have came out there.
you're coming out for the New Year?
I should have came out there. It was I was, but I didn't feel like driving from out here.
I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, man.
Driving
I'm
takes a
off
lot,
for a week too.
man.
I could have came.
Yeah. You got anything coming up, though?
Not much. Just grinding. Go to my motivate. If you need some motivation, go to my motivational page, Divine Motivation _ Give you motivation every single day, literally. I got a motivational album called I Am by yours truly, Enoch Maurice. If you need one-on-one coaching, hit me up. Anybody going into New Year's needs some perspective shifts. And that's it, man. Just holla at your boy. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Let me hit stop recording.
Gang, 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 gang.